Cool. All right, we're live. I'm about to share these to the different platforms real quick.
We're on YouTube Live? Oh.
Yeah, we're on YouTube Live.
All right. That's pretty cool. You're gonna stream it to YouTube Live. That's what's up.
Yeah. I'm trying to you know what I'm saying, really trying to do it.
Good.
And I guess what I can do.
So once you stream it live, then you go back and edit it later or something? Or you just leave the whole thing up?
Yeah. So okay. I'm glad you said that because I got to record on this computer. Cool.
I want to record. Hold on. No, gallery view, got it. Is this a better lighting view for you?
Yes, it is. Okay, cool. We gonna go ahead and get it popping. Cool. All right, what's going on, y'all, man? It's Crested Wiz, bro, Black Collar King, man. I hope y'all are well. I'm back with another one. I'm here with B Harmony. That's B period Harmony on Instagram. She is a grassroots politician out of San Bernardino, the Inland Empire, California. I think what you said, 65 or 62 miles from LA.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Not San Bernardino, but you know, we not too far. We're in San Bernardino County right here.
Okay, cool. That's what's up, man. So we're about to dive in like politics, the Black community. How can we, figure out ways of using people like B that has an associate's degree in law and has our own LLC to help our community better ourselves, get in a better position to where we don't, STEMIs are good or whatever, but we need to be in a position to where we don't need those, because truth be told, some people didn't need the STEMIs before they got them. It was just, something because they were already in a better position before the pandemic even hit. And so now with our people getting these, stimulus packages or whatever, hopefully they're not just blowing them, and hopefully we putting them to use to not only for ourselves, but for the community at large, because like I said earlier, we need money. So tell the people who you are and what you've been doing.
All right, well, peace and love. I'm B Harmony. I'm the owner of Harmony Politics LLC. I have my associate's degree in liberal studies, my bachelor's degree in political science, and currently I will be starting law school or my master's program. I'm not exactly sure about that, but yeah, so that's what's going on with me as far as my background. And as far as what Harmony Politics does, the point of my company is to just bridge the informational gap between politics and impoverished communities all across the world, whether you're in the United States, in Malta, Italy, Romania, wherever you are. Just if you're impoverished, then then my company is one that you should be checking out, definitely.
Right.
I offer services like business entity licensing, website development, grant writing, resume help. And also I do podcasts as well for fun, something that I just put out just to share my thoughts on what's currently going on in the political climate. So that's just my way of trying to help the community understand and just get into this entrepreneurship mindset, because if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's taught us that we are not as essential as we thought. That job that we were slaving for really doesn't care about you, doesn't have anything to do with you. Like, it's going to move on with or without you regardless. So we definitely need to understand that, owning your own business is the way to go, or being an entrepreneur is the way to go. Even if you don't own your own business, there's various ways that you could do in order to get that additional income, the passive income that we all need.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. So what led you, how old are you, may I ask?
I thought you're not supposed to ask a woman her age.
Yeah, I know. It depends on the woman, though. That's what I figured out. As a man, it depends on the woman. That's why I say, if I may.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm 30 years old. Just turned
Okay,
30.
cool. I'm 28. So, did you decide like, hey, I need to first start a nonprofit, or I need to do something more than just, go to work and go home and watch the news? Like, what made you, and what age did you decide to do that?
Well, I actually started my business just last February. So
Okay.
February, when everything was legitimized in 2019. But I kept having this reoccurring dream that I was just on stage and talking about politics with a whole bunch of influential people. And I kept having that dream throughout a 5-year period. And each time I had the dream, it got more vivid and more vivid. And finally, I was working, substitute teaching at special education at an elementary school. And I got into a situation there with the company that I was working for. And, the politics behind it is really what bothered me the most. And it made me really realize, I need to start my own company and do what I can to help my community. And so I originally tried to start my company as a nonprofit, but I wasn't well versed in business the way that I should have been. So when I was speaking about nonprofit and learning about the research and everything, I felt like I wasn't able to do that. So I went the LLC route, because of course, when you start a business, not only I'm a humanitarian, but I also want money too. So I decided to go the LLC route. And I felt like the LLC route was the best way for me to help my community. My goal is to help at least 20 people a year start their own business. And that's legitimizing it through filing it with the Secretary of State, getting your EIN number, you're doing business as everything that you need to do. Because for me, the goal of Harmony Politics is not for the fame or the attention, but it's for the notoriety. I want people to know me by the work that I'm putting out there, to say, oh, hey, I helped this person start their own company. They might be doing great. I don't ever need the shout out, but at the end of the day, that person knows that I was the one who helped them start. And that's the main thing for me, is just having people think that there's a new way of life. There's another way of life besides what we've been preconditioned to believe, that we're supposed to go to school. And when you go to school, you go to college to find out what you really love. No, you already know what you really love to do. It's just we live in a society where they try to strip that of you and tell you have to go follow their rules in order to do what you love. And I want people to experience this state of regenesis, so to speak, where you just, you're mentally disconnecting from everything that you've been taught and tapping into your own purpose.
Yeah, okay.
So that's really what made me started.
Yeah, okay, that's what's up. That is what's up. So what I want to know is, with are you familiar with like the projects in your where you're in California?
What do you mean, like project neighborhoods, or like actual projects that? Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. I'm very familiar with the various hoods that are around me in the neighborhood. I do charity work and community work. I go out there and talk to them, and it's actually interesting to me because before I started my own business, I didn't know how easy it was to start your own business. I didn't have that example growing up, being someone who's from the hood growing up. I didn't see people who had their own businesses. I mean, they had their own businesses, but it definitely wasn't the type of business that I was trying to get into. So I didn't have that example growing up. And I think that it's important in doing what I'm doing, making sure that people in those type of communities know, like, hey, you don't have to be a millionaire to start your own business. You don't have to have X, Y, and Z lined up in order to start your own business. Is it good to have that? Yes, absolutely. But don't let that be a hindrance as to why you're not taking that leap of faith and really focusing on yourself and making sure that you're in a good position.
Yeah, most definitely. Cause I want to go to a little bit like or staying on that same point. Like, cause you know how now what I mean, what we've always been doing is telling people to like and share so our algorithm so more people can share it. But like my question is like how like the people in the projects or whatever, because I used to do community work like heavy,
Okay.
like going door to door, giving out, trying to get people to sign up to come to like meetings to talk about like social inequality for
Okay.
African people. You know what I'm saying? Not just world, not just here, but worldwide and stuff like that, and what we can do to change it and stuff.
That's
And I
awesome.
was realizing because I asked them, I was like, well, why don't we go? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, why don't we just push YouTube harder? Like, you know, why don't we just push social media harder? Everybody's on social media. But they were like, no, because some of those people will never get close to getting on the algorithm that will lead them to us. So we need to get boots on the ground and actually go door to door and tell people, hey, there's another way to live.
Mhm.
So, like, how do you reach those people that may never click on your podcast, that may never find your Instagram, that may never find your YouTube? How do you reach those people that aren't even thinking about changing the way that they've been growing up because they haven't seen that example and they may not see it even though they got an iPhone, but it's just the type of algorithms that they're tapping into.
Right, exactly. And that's a great question. Thank you for that. I struggled with that, especially during the pandemic when it first started, because I was on a trajectory and then the pandemic happened and it kind of declined. In the
Mm,
beginning, I was focusing a lot on politicians that I was working with, and I was kind of piggybacking off of their platforms. So I already know there's certain people, if I know that you're talking about social injustice issues on this day, I'm going to try to get you to come on my podcast, and I'm going to focus in on those social issues that I've heard you talk about. And by doing that, the people who are paying attention to those issues, they're by default going to pay attention to me and my platform because I'm the one who brought him here. You know what I mean? So I
mm,
kind of was not in a sense of stealing audiences, but borrowing, their audiences, using their algorithms that they already have in place to attach myself to. And once the pandemic happened, it was a little bit harder. And I found myself, like you said, having to go out and do that groundwork and go and actually talk to people, volunteering at community centers, going to these events where little girls are, dancing and things. I partner with a lot of nonprofits, and I work with them as far as getting my brand out there and just really sharing, and a lot of things that we have going on in the community, which is great. I think as a whole is that we all can agree on one thing. We want our community to do better.
mm-hmm.
So that for that one person who's there at the dance studio where I go sometimes on Saturdays, that one person who's there, they might be interested in politics, but if I had not gone there, they may not have never known about me. So I
Right.
think that for me, the groundwork is the most important. And as far as marketing and networking and things like that, networking is a very powerful tool. You
Mm-hmm.
can have opportunities come into play just by being in a position, just by being in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And so with networking, I use Eventbrite a lot, and they have political events on there. They're free. And I go to these events, I hand out my cards to these people, I talk, I make sure that I engage with the people who are there, the speakers, whatever it is. That's how I found out about Inland Empire Women's Business Society. I never knew about them, but I found an event on Eventbrite and I went. So I think that putting yourself out there and being confident and knowing who you are and being a really genuine person, it resonates more than an algorithm can, because if you're putting the work in, people are going to go and find you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. That's what I've seen as well. And that's what I actually miss going out there and doing like real outreach.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've just been working and trying to get myself straight. You know what I'm saying? But like
Corona.
man, and it's not it, man. To me, it's not even that because I don't even like I don't even subscribe to that because it's like, bro, if you got good vitamin D, you know what I'm saying? Like I mean, because if you look at the studies, most people that have caught it or have quote unquote died from it were vitamin D deficient.
Hmm.
So it's like get your immune system up, eat your vegetables, bro. Like
Right.
like I miss going out, you know what I'm saying, to the people, man, and I can't wait till I can actually go back out and do that because
Right.
it's just a because it's man, it's a whole like black people online are completely different from black people that you just see on the streets. Like, you
Right.
know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like, completely
Exactly.
different, man. And so, if you can galvanize, that's what I'm like. That's what the organization that showed me, like, just trying to galvanize both, but like the groundwork, the boots on the ground. That's the most important
That's
because
the foundation.
because a lot of people, because like I said, a lot of people got phones, but it's just what they tapping into, and sometimes it'll take us walking to them physically for them to then digitally tap in. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's cool. So my next question is, so since you're being in law, right, and most people, most of our people now, and they've probably been saying it, right, that we don't need more basketball players, we don't need more musicians, we need more lawmakers, right? But or people, more black people in law. And then you get, I don't know if you're familiar with the ADOS movement.
Okay.
Um,
Tell me a
yeah,
little. It
he's a
sounds
guy.
vaguely familiar.
Say again.
It sounds vaguely familiar. Tell me
Yeah,
a
it's
little.
a guy named Antonio Moore. But he's like a lawyer in Los Angeles, but he's like fighting for reparations, which
Okay.
is like, which is cool or whatever. But I guess like the way he's going about it is kind of divisive. It's like this group of black people gets reparations, but this other group of black people don't.
Right.
But he's a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, okay. And then another example is like Benjamin Crump. He's always there when victims of police brutality, when our people are victimized by the police, and he's always there. And from my research,
Every
only
time you see
thing,
them.
you know what I'm saying? Only thing I've seen is just like he'll get a settlement. Like I just see like he's just there. So I don't see I don't see black politicians, when I do see them, trying to make real radical change, because I mean we're in Black History Month. The people that did actually try to make radical change in the society were killed. So what would you tell, or what would you inspire young black people to, what would you inspire them to, what would you tell them to inspire them to get into politics and to actually try to make a change? And before you answer that, did you hear about the black cop that killed himself, I think like on the 2nd of this month or something like that?
No.
Let
I know
me
about the 9-year-old little girl that was tased and everything. That's pretty big right now in the media. But the black cop who killed himself,
let me see.
was it a real suicide or are they deeming it as a suicide? That's my first question in hearing it.
All right, I'm about to pull it up. Let's see. Can you see that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, can you see that now?
Okay, yes, I see it.
Yes, his black deputy commit suicide, and he said he had enough of corrupt, racist police system. You know what I'm saying? And this happened what, on the 4th? So yeah, this guy killed himself. Black Lafayette Parish Sheriff's deputy took his own life on Monday, the 1st, because he had enough of serving a system that does not give a damn. Wow, that was his quote about him or other African Americans. Right. Wow, and he was a cop. So, and that right now, and that's another reason why I raised that question as well, because he would be quote unquote something that we as black people would need more of. You know what I'm saying? So, but he ended up killing himself because he had enough of seeing what we go through every day. So what like, because I'd ask him, like, before he killed himself, like, well, would you tell other people to become more cops, or what? Because if the end result is you just serve them and then you end up killing yourself, and then the people that you're serving are killing your people, what was the point of you becoming a cop?
Right.
So what would you tell people in order to be like, hey, look, I know it looks bad or whatever. I know you may have to, compromise a little bit, for your people or whatever, but this is why you need to get in for law. What would you tell them?
And I think that that's a great question. I like that you said that, compromise for your people, because, when George Floyd and Breonna Taylor's and, all of these social injustice, everybody was out rioting and looting, and Black Lives Matter, I found myself in a tricky situation, because someone who is into politics from a political standpoint, what is that going to do? Going out rioting and looting and protesting and all that, what really is that doing? You think the country's not aware of this problem? Do you think the government's not aware? They're aware, but do they actually care? And for me, I had to realize that not everyone is meant to be on the front lines with the rah, all that action. There's some things that need to be done behind the scenes. And that's people like me who are, your people who are, who want to be the Black lawyers, the Black politicians working in government, just Black people in general who are in these positions to create some type of change, or even if they can't create change the narrative. See, it's different when you have a Black cop who's stationed in the hood to patrol the hood versus 2 white cops. You know what I mean? Just by having that one Black cop there might make that neighborhood feel a little bit better. Although he might be partnered with a racist white cop, just knowing that there's a Black cop there may make a difference. And I think that we have to apply that logic in politics as well. And I would definitely encourage young people to, revolt, anarchy. I'm for anything that creates chaos in the government, because in order to blow up the system, you have to first acknowledge that there's a problem. And of course, they've acknowledged that slavery existed. They've acknowledged this. But in regards to old boy, you said, who's suing about the reparations, why is it that Jewish community got reparations for the Holocaust? Why is it that Indians got reparations for their land? Although they still continuously try to take their land, but it's like all of these atrocities happen with these different cultures, but why is it that Black people have never received anything? And I think that's the biggest question right there that we need to answer. And I think you can only answer that by infiltrating their system. And you can't expect the system to work for you if you don't know how the system works. And that's my biggest thing and so that's why I'm so into politics, because how can I say that I want to see change when I'm not even sure how the system works? I don't even know the 3 branches of government. I don't even know who my local mayor is, or my local city planning commissioner, or, the local person who's over the education department, that's responsible for teaching the curriculum and approving or denying it. So I think that when you combine all of these unknown factors, it's only right that you get into politics, because how else are you going to know what's going on in the world if you're not paying attention to what's going on right in your own community? And that's where politics for me starts at. It starts at home, where you live at. Yes, the national politics is important. I understand that, but not so. If you're not into politics, national politics are irrelevant to you, because the common thing in the Black community is, oh, that don't affect me. I don't care about it. That doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't care what that got to do with me. You're right. It may not have nothing to do with you on a large scale, but on a miniature scale, it does, because of where your community is. Each county, each state is responsible for how they come up with laws and how they enact them right where you live at. So paying attention to where you live at and your surroundings is the most important thing that you could do for your life. And it'll help you maneuver a lot differently if you know what's going on.
Yeah. And I know going into my next question, my view on politics has been like very to me, I guess like now it's one-sided, like the word you said, like anarchy, right? And going back a little bit to what you were saying about the riots not doing anything or whatever. And it's funny because I'm glad that the insurrection of January 6th happened, because the thing is now, because if nothing, so I guess my question now is, nothing changed when when our people stormed and did the messed up all the stores or whatever, right? We didn't own any of those stores. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then those stores probably had insurance more than not. You know what I'm saying? So they got money for that. So, and then if you go a little bit deeper into it, they'll be like, hey man, bricks were planted here for people to throw stuff at it. So, people, and then if you go a little bit deeper, back in January of last year, all the CEOs started stepping down from their high positions. And then right after that, Corona hit, and then, George Floyd and all of that, right? So going into my next question, it's like, okay, that didn't do anything, but what was, or why was the insurrection of January 6th like so looked at, I guess, in a not, like it wasn't looked at like it was when we were rioting. It wasn't looked like that. And then it was on a different scale, because we're not just rioting like privatized companies. You were at the Capitol, like at the place where laws and legislations are made and enforced. And I'm trying to see like what changed for them, because the thing is, it's like they did it because they wanted Trump back in office, right? So
Right.
them doing that, like what, and from a political standpoint, what, because I see on your podcast you say you're not left or right.
Right.
So seeing both sides from the riots to the insurrection, and it's so funny that they're even called such things. There's a riot,
Different
and an
things,
insurrection,
right?
when they're both riots. You know, they're
Facts,
both
facts.
riots, they're both rebellions. There's both people tired of their situations.
Mhm.
So really, they're one and the same. It's just like you said, the narrative and us controlling it. So what do you think that they gained from the insurrection of January 6th on a political standpoint?
Great question again. Thank you for that. And, I think that you said it right. The fact that there are two different names speaks volume to this country and the problem that we're having. It's a systematic problem. Like the main thing is you're not seeing any type of, they're not being called animals or looters or rioters or anything like that. Why? Because they're not Black. First, that's the first and foremost thing that's recognized. They're not Black. They're called, this is a terrorist attack on the Capitol. Now, if they were Black, we know that the outcome would have been totally different. Why is that? It's an underlying problem in politics. It's an underlying problem. The problem is the Constitution. We're using this document that was made how many years ago, when things that have came up now that Thomas Jefferson, the forefathers, could never have imagined happening because they're not living during this time. So why are we trying to use an old document? In legal terms, I call the Constitution moot. It's irrelevant, it's invalid, it doesn't mean anything compared to what's going on today. And with the insurrection of Donald Trump, I think that was something, to me personally, I feel like that was something that was done to appease the world. We're living in a world where we're at an all-time high with racism. Racism never left. It's just being filmed more and more now. You have social injustices. You have these atrocities that are happening throughout the world, where you have Black women who are leaving the stores and are getting beat. You have little 9-year-old girls who are getting pepper sprayed, Black cops who are killing themselves because of the injustices that's going on. So it's all of these factors are taking place. And I think that from a political standpoint, it's noticeable and it's recognized. So in order to appease that, well, we have to do something about this. We can't just let it be. So let's call it an insurrection and let's try to get him out of office, and let's try to, press charges against him. Okay, but what about those people who came into the office? One of the women was found to be a Russian spy who tried to steal Nancy Pelosi's laptop. Right. But what is the punishment for that? Oh, she lost her job and she's in jail for a little bit and that's it. And I believe now she's actually out. So it's like, whenever we're talking about two different narratives, but it's the same thing, it's the government's job to create two different narratives about the same thing to try to confuse you and I guess not necessarily try to confuse you, try to have you think that politics really doesn't play an issue in this matter because we're talking about violence. So leave politics out of that. Oh, they didn't break anything in the Capitol. They threw bottles with feces in it at people. What do you mean? Like, are you serious? Like, the fact they went into the Capitol with guns, so it's like from a political standpoint, they're going to dumb down this narrative with the insurrection and drum up the narrative of the rioting and the looting and all that stuff because of the type of people and the damage that was done. You can see the stores being broken into, you see the glass, you see all that. Now, when you're inside the state capitol, you don't see the violence, quote unquote. So because you don't see it, you can create whatever narrative you need to in order to fit what you want the bigger picture to be. And the bigger picture is Trump's out of office. And Joe Biden is in, period. So that's all that was, is that people were mad that Trump, for me, the Republicans, the right, the conservative right wings who went up there, the extremists, they were mad that Trump was out of office, and they went up there and they attacked and they did all of these vicious things. And at the end of the day, nothing happened. And I just think that, it's unfortunate that happened, but I'm not surprised by it. I mean, I don't think that anything is going to come from the insurrection because, he's out of office right now. They're already having a hard time just getting subpoenas and getting witness statements and things like that. Now that he's out of office, people don't want to come forward anymore. It's kind of like, what's the point? He's gone now. Biden's in. Biden's our savior. He's going to come and fix everything. He passed the stimulus. He's going to give us money. When really, we traded a snake in our face, which is Donald Trump, for a snake in the grass, which is Joe Biden. So either way, it was a lose-lose situation. And I think that politically, we as Black people need to recognize that. The sooner that we understand that politics are always going to be geared toward their side and not our side, the sooner we can infiltrate and make change and speak out on our opinions and voice opinions that actually matter, that are stating stuff that's relevant with some type of substance.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. That was a great answer. That was an amazing answer. Okay, so you've been podcasting for like a year now. This is almost like the year anniversary month. I think you posted the first one on like February either 2nd or 9th of last year.
Oh, I didn't even look back to see that, man. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah. So doing that, right? So, and you've had like a plethora of people on there, from what I've seen, right? And I kind of want to do a little self-advertising here. I'm going to be having DC that goes hard. He's the music producer. He was the first one that I interviewed. We're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies and how to get on that sometime this month. And I'm going to be interviewing 2 more people after this one. I'm gonna definitely make a video and post about that on my social. So follow me if you're not. I'm going to have a description on all of that afterwards. So you were saying off camera that you were talking to someone, because we've been talking about politics, and the organization that I was a part of, they were saying the economics and the politics are one. Mm-hmm. Okay, because the thing is, it's like, what does politics move money, or do the money move politics? I think, I think that's a question that our people haven't on a local and a national level. I don't think our people have really been asked that question or had that question presented to them. And so with that, with there being a number of, and I think if I might be wrong, but I think Black women are still the highest entrepreneurs, or the highest business owning, starting startups or whatever. They're the highest of entrepreneurship right now.
Right. The highest graduate class for like the last in a row from college and universities, for sure.
Right. Okay. And so that should translate into higher income. Right.
Right.
So now that we've got the higher income, now it's like, okay, how do we translate the income into the politics, instead of just being like, oh, okay, I got my money and I don't like this guy in office and I don't know how it's affected me, but since I don't like him, I needed to get him out. Right. And so you were talking to me, telling me about a guy that was selling Bitcoin ATM machines. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay, so if you guys are well, I guess he's going to post the links, but Harmony Politics Podcast, go and search the episode, How to Own Your Own ATM Machine. It's a gentleman by the name of G. Davis ATM and Vending Services. And I interviewed him for my podcast on how you can own your own ATM machine in under a little bit under $1,000. It might be around $1,000 with taxes and everything. And he talked about how to go out and get your clientele and everything. And I asked him a specific question, being that we're moving towards a world where, our dollar, the value of the American dollar is decreasing, although it's still the standard, so to speak, the actual, because we're so in debt, the value is decreasing here in the States. Now you go to other countries and things, we're still the GOAT, we're the best to ever do it. We're still the motto. But here in America, it's been a shift in the last, I say 30 or 40 years. So with that being said, I asked him, what are you concerned about the future of your ATM machine business? And he went in to tell me about the new future of ATM machines is not just going to be a regular machine where you can draw out cash. It's moving toward Bitcoin machines, which is cryptocurrency and the dark web and things like that now that you're dealing with. And if you go into some 7-Elevens, I'm not sure if they have 7-Elevens where you are. I don't know.
They don't.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay,
yeah, so it is. It sucks.
Out here in California, we have 7-Elevens, and some 7-Eleven machines don't even have ATM machines. They actually have Bitcoin machines, especially if you go to LA, they have Bitcoin machines. And, and being that it's good to jump in on things when they first start. That's how you learn more. So being that he was already ahead of the curve, he was already in the process of buying Bitcoin machines to see how they were going to play out and placing them in different locations. I wasn't able to do a follow-up with him, but that I thought that was something very interesting in that interview where he talked about that. And he spoke about how, we as Black people, we don't ask enough of questions. We assume that everything is supposed to be given up to us because of what happened back in 1800, 1900s, just 70 years ago. Segregation was alive 70 years ago. That's not that long. I have some friends who have grandparents who are older than that. So, and being that we don't ask these questions, we're missing out on relevant content. And I like that you said, being that Black women are, for the last 3 years in a row, the highest graduating class, shouldn't they be making more money? And they absolutely should, which brings me to the point of, does politics run the, what did you say, politics and the economy?
Yeah, so the economics and the politics are one. That's what they
Right.
told me. And so now the question is, do politics move the money or do the money move the politics?
Okay, and that's what I want to talk on. So both. My answer to that is definitely going to be both, because politics moves the money. A lot of people think, as a Black community, I hear that, oh, you can't be a Black Republican. Like, that means you're racist and you're this and you're that. And you're supposed to be a Democrat. Well, why am I supposed to be a Democrat? Because Democrats care about me? Is that what you're telling me? Okay, well then tell me, how do they care about me? They care about me because they created these social reform programs. So they gave me food stamps, they gave me WIC, they gave me housing, they gave me all this. So therefore, I'm supposed to be a Democrat. Look at how those programs have taken away the Black family unit in itself. Me, as a Black woman, if I have a child and I'm on Section 8, my man is unfortunately incarcerated. When he gets out, he can't even come home to me because I'm going to lose this Section 8. And out of fear of not trusting my man, and being that he can do what he's going to do to provide for our family, because we know the world is a cruel place. Once you go to jail and you got that jacket on you, it's really hard to recover from it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to be with you anymore. Now I'm going to stick with the government because I rely on them more. Well, now you have children who are growing up without a father in their home, a single mom who's working. There's so many different factors. She has to go out and do all of these things and play that role, because that's the only role the government has given her. Now, on the flip side, where you have money moving the politics, to me, that's more of a Republican side of things, where, okay, Republicans, not necessarily, it's not that they don't care about people, because I'm sure that they do. They care about their people, you know what I mean? But they're coming from an economic standpoint. And from an economic standpoint, that's the most important thing, because that's where we live at. I'm not really concerned with you as a person. I'm concerned with the whole of what we have going on. So, like, for example, this Senate bill that passed, it's amazing that it passed, but I understand both sides of the concern. $1.9 trillion is a huge amount of debt. We're giving people $1,400 to $1,000 or $1,000. I'm not sure which one. I haven't gotten to look at it. I should have, but whatever amount they're giving, and that's supposed to do what? That's supposed to help you out. That's only going towards bills or whatever you're going to. I guarantee you're not going to use that money to invest it and try to triple and double it up. You're not going to, because we don't have that type of mindset. So I think that right now in our community, money is moving politics. We're going towards the side that's money. And right now, that's this guy, Joe Biden. He's giving the people what they want. They want more money. They want help. They want aid. They want assistance right now during a time where we're not sure how our next meal is going to come from, or how we're going to pay our bills or pay our rent, or whatever the case is. And we as a people, we look to politicians to be our saviors, instead of looking to ourselves and figuring out, okay, well, how do although I like what he's saying over here, what are the points over here that's being made? Mm-hmm. Well, damn, okay, well, if I get this stimulus, that means I may not get taxes come next year. Well, maybe it might not be worth it. I really don't need the money right now, but next year I might actually need the money. And now I just put myself in a situation, you know what I mean? So I think that once we get out of that mindset of looking to people or party affiliations to be our saviors and really start thinking for ourselves, then we'll understand that politics moves the economy. It's not money that moves the economy. It's the politics behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's I can give a great example about that. Because you're not in cryptocurrencies, but you said you're in stocks.
Right.
But Elon Musk, I remember he said something about Bitcoin, and then him just saying something about Bitcoin, people just started buying it, and the price went up. And and he's just a business guy, but whatever forum he said that on was translated and politicized into, hey, this is going to drive this money market up.
Right.
And so, and I think that's a simplistic way of kind of explaining what politics is. Somebody can say something and it'll move the money this way. Somebody says this one, it'll move the other. And I think, like you said, once our people are more privy to that, and not looking for parties because I'm working right now, right? I have I'm working for some Chinese people actually. I'm working for some Chinese people at their restaurant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny because they're not, I remember they were playing the insurrection when it was happening, because I was at work when it was happening. And it was funny because I was thinking, I was like, man, you know what? They're not watching this or not putting this on because it's something that they care about. And mind you, I don't know what they're actually thinking or whatever, so they could. But they're
Right.
doing this to pander to their customers because their customers are American. They care about American problems.
Right.
So, hey, let me put this on the TV because the thing is, I'm getting this American money and I'm going to send this back to Asia. So so I don't care about it. So it's so crazy to see, and that goes to what you're saying because they don't rely on an American party here.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if they're communist or not, they have family and a connection back to China to where they will send their economics and make sure that their politics match the economics that they're sending back home, and that will
Mm-hmm.
match wherever they are in the world. Because not only are they in America, not only they're in China, they're in the motherland doing what they want because they have the necessary economics and the politicians to enforce wherever the money's going. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? To
Fact. You're absolutely right.
and so once our people understand that if we just come together and pool our resources, like Dr. Clark Anderson was talking about, um, then we can actually make change without having to wait on people. You know what I'm saying? Like what I feel like we're just waiting on us to get us together. Like I
And
think
that's interesting to me. Dr. Umar Johnson talks about that a lot. And it's unfortunately for us as a people, I don't like the argument that, oh, we experienced slavery and our identity was stripped from us and it's systematic oppression and it's all these things, which I understand. I recognize that. I believe it. I obtain to it. I get it. I'm very aware of that. But it reminds me of what Kanye West said. And I know that he created so much controversy when he said slavery was a choice, but I understand what he was saying behind, although he said it in the context was bad and, he should have explained himself a little bit more during that time instead of coming back, because the bigger picture was a lot of people, it eluded them. We as people now, slavery is a choice and we're choosing to be slaves. We're choosing we're choosing slavery by way of MasterCard, by way of Visa, by way of Instagram. Oh, I see all these girls with Chanel and Gucci and Louis and Prada and Birkin. So I'm going to go out and do whatever I can, even if it means morally sacrificing yourself or doing something that you normally wouldn't do just to keep up with the Joneses, And I think that we as a people, we're flashy people. We're flamboyant people. We love to keep up with the Joneses. So the fact to make a sacrifice and put aside what you need to help out your brother or your sister, that's something that we didn't do. And I definitely know that it does go back to slavery days, as far as, you're ripped from your family, you're by yourself. How am I going to look out for you when we don't even speak the same language? I got to look out for me. So I understand that aspect has been lost, but to what end where does it end and where does it start, where we start to get back our own selves? Yeah. Even if, oh, we don't have an identity because we're not from here. Yo, I'm from here. Sorry, but I'm from here. Like, I understand my ancestors may not have been from here, but I'm from here. So how do I fix here where I'm at? How do I fix myself to get to a place where we understand that politics affects our community in the craziest way? Look at when we elected Obama the first time around, not the second time, because I think that the second time, a lot of Black people actually started paying attention and realizing, he's actually not doing anything to help us. Let me not vote. Or like this time around, a lot of Black people just didn't vote, periodly, the second time. Even thinking about Joe Biden, how did Joe Biden get into office with Black people? He had Senator Kamala Harris. He had, he's banking on the fact that, I'm gonna help people get money. He's banking on the fact that everybody hates Trump so much that you're gonna get the vote by default. Mm-hmm. This man, Joe Biden, I did a podcast on this. He went on the Breakfast Club and told you you're not Black if you don't vote for him. Mm-hmm. Now, how are you still in office and your whole campaign was ran around social injustices and coronavirus? Right. So it's like, how do you as a white man tell me I'm not Black if I don't vote for you? Because not only is that disrespectful to the Black community, but that's also disrespectful to the Black Republicans who are still Black, you know? And I think that when I talk to people about that, when I made that podcast episode, a lot of people were saying, well, he's right. You're not Black if you don't vote for him. Okay, well, why do you feel like that? Well, because Black people are Democrats. Why do you feel like that? Why? Like, let's get into the deeper reasons of why, because to be honest, you're not even informed enough in politics to even make that type of decision or add to that narrative. And it's no disrespect to the people who feel like that, who are watching and listening, you know, but it's just politics are much deeper than what people think. It's much deeper than a party affiliation. Because, and to be honest, you don't have to subscribe to Democrat, Republic, left or right. You can truly be independent, see both people on the ballot and make your choice from there. You don't have to conform to what they say. And I think we as Black people, we're so used to conforming since back in slavery to segregation to now. We just conform to whatever we feel is best, whichever one is going to help the Black people the most. Look at all the slack that Ice Cube got when he met with Donald Trump about the Black contracts for America. Look at, and what did he say? What was his reason? I met with Donald Trump because they were willing to sit down with me right there and talk. Joe Biden said, wait. And then people are still telling, oh, you're a sellout, you're this. How is he a sellout? Like, do you hear what this man is saying? Like, you know, he sat down and met with whoever was willing to hear out our needs. And I think that we as people, you know, this time around when we voted, the Black vote was so important this election that we damn near, you know, propelled Joe Biden into office. Just because why? He's gonna get us some more money and he's got a Black running mate. Okay. If that's what politics is in our community, then there's something we're not thinking enough. And me as a person who's politically inclined, it's my job to tell you at every step of the turn, yo, that's not right. Or, okay, have you thought about it from this other perspective? That's all I'm here to do with Harmony Politics, is just offer another perspective and to get you out of this idea that you've been preconceived to believe that Black people are Democrats, when no, we're not. We're not. We're independent. We were independent before we were brought to this country. We need to get back to that.
Yeah,
I probably went off a little bit. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. That's great. That's what I need. That's exactly what I need. Thank you for that answer, because the thing is, like, going back to a little, well, staying on the topic, what you were saying, going back to what you said that they're not thinking, or they're spewing a narrative that they have no deep understanding about. And they have no deep understanding about that narrative because it's not their narrative. Like I said before, whether your ancestors were here on this land or back on the motherland, either way, you were independent. And going back to your point, and we, like you said, we need to get back to that, because like I don't think I've ever, even when I went to high school with an Asian guy that spoke very clear English, I don't think I ever asked him, because I was in high school when Obama got elected. Yeah. I was in like 9th grade or something. Okay. And I never asked him about politics, but I knew all the white folks was mad that day. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's just because they have a certain independence to where it's like, bro, yeah, I'm here in America, but I'm not American. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my cousin's over in China, like chilling, bro. Like, you know, and we need to have a better connection like that, even if it's just like, hey, look, you in Philly, I'm in Alabama, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we brothers. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just because, you know what I'm saying? Because we know that these motherfuckers really ain't got nothing for us but a bullet or a jail cell. For real, you know what I'm saying? So if we just come back together and pull our resources together, pull the warrior class, because we need the warriors, we need the healers, we need the spiritualists, we need all of that. We need all of them to just come back and be like, look, all your skills, you need to bring them back to the community, because we are the permanent underclass. If you look at the history of politics and where we've sat in political arenas, and dare I say, going back to what the Kanye thing, which you were talking about, yeah, the slavery was he should have said that in a better context. What I rocked with more with what he said was when I guess he was running, and he was like, Harriet didn't free the slaves. She just sent them up north to work for other white folks, which is true, because the thing is colonialism is what caused slavery in the first place. And that's what a lot of people don't like to talk about, because like slavery is like the symptom of 13 colonies, because we
Facts.
were enslaved before America was even America.
And that's what our people need to understand, that politics, the Black vote it's always been important because it's always been the issue, going back to, like you said, the 13 original colonies, and there was enslavement that happened. But now after that, it transitioned to where it's legal now. Okay, we have documentation. We're going to other countries and bringing them back. Slavery has always been the basis of it. You think that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves because he felt bad? No, he had slaves himself. But from an economic standpoint, it doesn't make sense to better the economy by enslaving people when we can, hey, let them be free, let them do what they do and contribute to the economy by way of themselves, not for you. So you see what I'm saying? If we understand that we as Black people hold so much weight when it comes to politics, we literally have the influence, we have the capability to influence an entire election. And I hate to bring this up again, but look at Obama's first term in office. I was 18 years old. I wasn't into politics like I am now. It wasn't until a couple years later when I started really focusing, but I voted for Obama based on the fact that he's Black. Not once did it occur to me to ask, well, what are you going to do for Black people? Exactly. I just assumed you were going to do something because you're Black and you look like me. But all skin folk is not kinfolk. And when I started seeing him do more for DACA immigrants, for LGBTQ communities and military and all these things, I'm like, okay, well, it's got to come for the Black people. What's going to come? Now, fast forward to Trump being in office, I did a whole podcast on this episode of all the things that Trump has done for the Black community. Now, I'm not saying, I'm so grateful for Donald Trump. No, but I'm saying that there's a clear, distinctive difference from 2008 to when Trump got in office, and that the strides that were made when it came to the Black community. Now, whether Trump did it to appease the Black community and try to keep them on or whatever, I don't know. But for me personally, as a business person and him being a businessman in office, not a politician, it made sense to me that some of the things that he did and implemented were specifically geared towards Black people, because we are a driving force behind the economy. We will go into debt to buy that Louis bag. We will have no car to be the freshest one at the bus stop, though. You know what I mean? Like, our priorities are backwards, and society understands that, and they play on that. And it plays out in politics as well, too.
Man, and what you said about Abraham Lincoln, to go off on like some, to go back on about what you said, like, because I believe the emancipation was the declaration of us being a permanent underclass. Because once he freed us, then the slave patrollers that were watching the plantation were just like, oh, okay, well, they're free now. So what do we do? So now the lawmakers had to go and be like, hey, well, this is illegal now. So it's all political. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, shoot. Once we get them back in the chain gang, then they can start making stuff for us like it never happened.
Right.
Our
political clout, the little bit of political clout that we had back then was based off of us being enslaved to them. That's the only reason why we had any type of political clout, is because we were enslaved. So once we stepped out on our own, we didn't have the know-how to create our own parties. We didn't have the know-how to even grasp the concepts that they were talking about, whether it's Republic or Democrat, left or right. We didn't have that understanding, being that this was not even our quote unquote nation back then. We didn't know how to separate the two. So when we were on our own, of course, we're going to go with the side that's saying, let's free the slaves. Let's make sure they're free, because we know that we may not know politically what they're talking about, but we know what's going on. It's not right. There should be no reason why you're beaten because you didn't pull enough cotton, women rape, all types of things that are going on. And I think that because we didn't know, that was a driving factor as to why Black people still to this day are like, well, I don't care about politics. I don't need to know. Politics didn't matter back then. They freed the slaves. That's all that matters. Okay, but there's a lot more to that that's still in effect today. Right. I wrote this down. Senator Cory Booker is trying to get Senator Cory Booker and Kamala Harris are trying to get the Emmett Till Bill passed to where lynching is illegal. Because believe it or not, lynching is not illegal the way that you would think it would be. They've changed a few words on it, but having to make a compromise, as Senator Booker and Kamala Harris, before she was running for VP, right before, they made a compromise with the Senate. And what that did was, we're not going to call it the Emmett Till Bill anymore. We're going to call it something totally different. Why? Because there's if we call it the Emmett Till Bill, then we have to recognize that during a certain time, this man, Emmett Till, was beaten, for what? Whistling at a white woman.
Yeah.
So if we call it the Emmett Till Bill, it has such a negative connotation. We're not okay with that. Right. So after fighting and fighting and fighting, they finally compromised on what they were going to name the bill. And now that's what's going to go before the House and the Senate committee. But you see, just something like that, that's so small. That Emmett Till situation happened how many years ago? Right. And we're still dealing with the after effects. And we still, as Black people, have to make compromises in order to appease a political party just so that we can get laws that'll protect us. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that we as people even grasp the severity of just something so small as changing a bill name to Emmett Till. Because it doesn't just come with the bill name change, it comes with some of the rhetoric that's inside of the bill as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And that rhetoric comes with narrative that 9 times out of 10, we don't have control over.
Right.
So, and that's another big thing that I'm on is, controlling the narrative, man. That's why I like having shows like these, having people like you on here so we can tell the people, inform them, what I'm saying, of what's going on. And actually have some tangible solutions to actually change what's going on in our communities, man. Because the thing is, we have the right amount of people with the right amount of money to make the right amount of noise for the right reasons, for the right end goals, and our people can get in a better position than where we are today. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what we need.
And they're actually going to be changing the name to just the Anti-Lynching Act. But it should be the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. But the name change that they've agreed upon, if it passes, is the Emmett Till is the Anti-Lynching Act. And, it's unfortunate, but what can we do? That's why I tell people, it's important for me, even just struggling with the decision for law school versus the master's in public administration route, both still play a pivotal role in politics and government. And, we need people to infiltrate the system because we don't understand the system. So how do we understand the system if somebody like me is not in the system and coming back and telling you? Right. That's the whole basis of my company, knowledge, wisdom, and community. I got the knowledge. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get the knowledge. And I'm going to use wisdom when I apply what I just learned. And then I'm going to take it back to my community. I'm not going to take it back to you if I haven't tried it first. And it's not because I'm holding information from you or trying to, I got to make sure I get mine first. No, it's to make sure that whatever knowledge I just received is accurate and it's right, because I never want to come out with false information. Yeah. And I think that if more Black people just understood those 3 concepts, knowledge, wisdom, and community, we can do a lot more. I'm familiar with Supreme Mathematics, and I actually got my 3 pillars of my company from Supreme Mathematics, which is the first 3, which is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But I just took out understanding and put community for the basis of my company. But, and I think that, I'm not saying everybody should be in a Supreme Mathematics, but I think that we as a people don't do for ourselves enough, and we rely too much on other people. And if we just learn to do for ourselves, a lot of things would be better. A lot of things in our lives would be better.
Most definitely, man. Self-determination. I'm hearing a lot of buzzwords and buzz phrases that I haven't heard in mainstream media until I got privy to an organization that I was working with 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. And it's just funny. And self-determination is one of those things. And I think that's actually a Kwanzaa Day, Kujichagulia. Yeah, self-determination, man. And that's something that we've had, and I think we need to kind of sort of change the language, because we're kind of getting fancy with the language of us as a whole, and then people in the conscious community and stuff like that. It's just man, simply put, man, we just we've had unity before. It's just been stripped from us. So now we need to get that back. However we can do that, that's what we need to do in order to change our situations. Because like I say, even at the Chinese store that I work at, right, I've seen the manager and the head line cook go, and their brother and sister, right, and they go at it to the point where they're crying, right? But they have a and it's funny to us because we're just the employees or whatever. But the thing is, they have an understanding within each other that look, even though I'm subjectively angry or whatever, I'm just not about to sabotage the company or whatever. We still have a common unity, which then translates into the community. We all have a common goal. We all have a plan of action of how we're going to get there, and we have discipline and accountability to get there. And speaking of which, I saw an early screening of Judas and the Black Messiah. And
Okay.
shouts out to Sound on the Hill, at Sound on the Hill on Instagram, because they was the one that got me that early screening. I was at work, so I couldn't kind of sort of watch it for real. But like what I got from it is crazy, and it's a real timely movie. To let you know, going back to what we were talking about, like the all skin folk ain't kinfolk. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
And then we have to really understand the what's the word I'm looking for, like the the severity of our situation. I mean, it's cool now that we're all like trying to do stuff for ourselves and whatever, but now we need to do for self for the community.
Right.
And
I
I'm
think,
glad to have you on here,
thank
and I'm definitely gonna have you back. Let the people know where they can find you. If you have Cash Apps, Venmos, PayPal's, let them know where they can donate.
Okay, so you guys can find me. Go to harmonypolitics.com, all one word, Harmony Politics. You can find me on Instagram, Harmony Politics _. You can find my personal page, B_Harmony_. You can find my podcast, search Harmony Politics. It's everywhere. You listen to podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Buzzcast. There's a few other ones I know I'm forgetting, but anywhere you listen to podcasts, I'm streaming everywhere. We're worldwide. We are about to be ending season 2, and we are trying to get. I believe that I'm in about 23 different countries right now. So we're trying to get to 30 countries by the end of season 2. So definitely want to help out with that. You can donate on the website, harmonypolitics.com. If you like the vision, if you like what I'm doing, all of your donations go towards helping me. Just make sure that I take the knowledge and wisdom that I have to the community. Your donations may help someone start their business who doesn't have all the funding. So definitely want to help out with that. It's much more appreciative for sure, coming from another place as opposed to my own pocket, just for someone to know that there's someone out there who donated this money and I'm using that money to help you do that. So let's let it come full circle, you guys. But that's pretty much where you guys can find me at. Yeah, that's my speech.
Thank you, Bianca, so much for joining
No
me. This is
problem.
Crested Wiz, Black Collar King. Follow me on Instagram at Black Collar King, BlackCollar King. Michael Athy on Facebook, MICHAELATHEY. Cash App is hashtag BLKCLLR 45. Venmo is the same thing. It's just the @ sign instead of the cash tag. PayPal.me/Michael Athy. Um, I got stuff coming, man. I got some more interviews coming. Guys, just follow me. I got some more videos coming from King's Council, shows coming up. We're about to get it in, man. Bianca, thank you so much again for your time. We're definitely going to do this again. And
Yes.
you guys be on the lookout for the crypto show that I'm going to do with DC that go hard, man. I appreciate y'all again. This Crested Wiz, we out.
Peace.